Jumping on the YouTube bandwagon, people. Bandwagon? Bandwagon. Hey. I'm finally here. Can we get a hoot? Hoot? It's not the same. It's not the same. Video, I wanted to just jump right into some content, just something about traveling, and more specifically tips for Christian solo travelers. Christians travel too. I've solo traveled to several countries. Overall, I've been to I think like 16 or 17 countries, and probably solo traveled to maybe 10 if I'm right. I hope I'm right. If I'm not right, I'll just put the cart number here, right? And I feel as though I usually don't meet a lot of Christians while on the road. No one is wearing a shirt saying I'm a Christian, are you? You know, or maybe we should start doing that. So it's like, oh, I'm a Christian too, let's hang out. You know, that would be really cool in another life, maybe in 2021. It would be, I guess, more palatable to say that it's the same when traveling as a Christian versus traveling as a non-Christian, and it is not the same. And overall, I think it's different because we are guided by different spiritual guidelines. Like being a Christian or relationship with God, stuff like that affects places we go, the things we do, the people we hang around with, the things we eat, the things we drink. And these tips are also guidelines that you can use in your everyday life as well. So let's get into it. The first one is learn to say no. No. The reason why learning to say no is important is because you have to learn how to decline things that you don't want to engage in, and that helps a lot. You can't be a yes person when traveling on the road. If you're uncomfortable with something, just learn to say no, even if you might feel it's a little bit harsh. Like, for example, if someone is offering you something or inviting you someplace that you know that's not your style, just saying no might seem a little bit harsh for some people. But you can also say no in another way, like maybe no thank you, not tonight, or I am not into things like these, or that's not my style, or I would prefer to decline. So stuff like that is basically the equivalent of no, but it does help. Okay, the next point is to be the same person abroad that you are at home. For me, I know that I've been tempted to like try to be someone else abroad that I'm not usually at home, maybe a little bit more outgoing or stuff like that. No, trust me, just being the same person abroad that you are at home really helps. Don't try to be another person if you weren't like a really sociable person. Yeah, you don't have to change yourself. If you were usually an introvert at home, be an introvert abroad. If you were usually an extreme extrovert at home, be an extreme extrovert abroad. It works like that, and it helps a lot. My next point is don't easily yield to peer pressure. It's going to be way harder for you on the road. It's going to be hard. Just easily persuaded by other people who are non-Christians, especially to do things, eat things, drink things, go places that you personally know that you wouldn't go if they didn't pressure you. Come on, it's just a one-night thing. It's not that big of a deal. Like, just don't easily yield to peer pressure at all. As I said, like the first point, saying no really goes a long way. And as I said, it may sound harsh, but at the end of the day, you're left with a free conscience. Trust me, because having your free conscience intact after a trip feels so good. I'm free. But there are some people that even when they find out that you're a Christian, they're still pressuring you to do things like, don't you understand? You know, what does it mean when I say that I'm a Christian? Like, they don't understand. And trust me, sometimes they do. And I have also experienced that. Sometimes people do, they understand what it means to be a Christian, what it means when you say you're a Christian, and even when you bluntly and frankly let them know things that you don't like or that you're not interested in, they still pressure you. And those people, that's literally just sidestep them, because they're gonna be toxic for your trip. And as I said, coming home with a free conscience is just the best thing. I really dislike it when I meet people like that, but they do exist. And yeah, okie dokie, let's movie to the next point. Okay, the next one is find a church community. This is one of my favorite ones, because when I travel, I love to go on Google and just search, are there any churches close to my accommodation? So if you're traveling for more than 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then finding a church community would be more possible. Because if you're traveling for 1 week or like even 5 days, it's gonna be hard to just find a church. Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. So usually I recommend this for long-term solo traveling. But even if you're in a new city for 1 week or 2 weeks or stuff like that, or longer, just find a church. So just go on Google churches close to your accommodation. I grew up in the UPC, United Pentecostal Church. So usually the first thing I do is I Google Pentecostal churches close to where I am. I also try to go on the UPCI website. They just updated their catalog with churches worldwide. It wasn't always like that, so definitely that's helpful. But they did it during the quarantine, I think. And doing that basically automatically gives you friends and just a community. And you definitely don't feel alone when you're going to church. You have other people that you can congregate with and worship with. I think like within church, it's usually easier to meet other people. And guess what? Free food. I'm hungry! Yes, that's one thing that I like about going to churches while traveling. Sorry, I don't care if you roast me for it or whatever, but free food, especially like me when you're budget solo traveling, like free food is the way to go. It helps a lot, trust me.
Make me a cheeseburger.
Okie dokie, the next point is don't lower your standards. Do not lower your standards. It's unnecessary. It also ties with not exoticizing a culture and a country when you go there, being more of a traveler than a tourist, because really and truly you're just traveling Earth, and all of us live on Earth. No other culture is like really alien. We're very similar people. We're all one people. So you're just traveling to experience another person's culture. So there's no need to take on another persona. There's no need to lower your standards. Just keep your standards the same way they were when you were home, and you will be fine. Especially this advice helps when it comes to you meeting people that you may be interested in, or people that may be interested in you. Of course, the idea of meeting a French guy while traveling in Paris sounds amazing, but don't lower your standards to get that guy. And especially if you're traveling solo or you meet someone that's really interesting and then you find out that they're not a Christian, or even if they are, like their values are very different from yours, or they don't practice what they say. But trust me, don't try to force that fantasy by lowering your standard, because it's not worth it. Guys are guys, girls are girls. We are the same everywhere. Trust me. Yeah. Trust me. The next point is that you're going to be alone sometimes. You're going to be the only one. Be the only one staying home at 1 a.m. in the morning, but it's totally fine. And I realized that the devil tries to attack, I know for me, you know, with this by saying you're the only one, you're alone, whatever. But trust me, you're not alone. Ever feel like you are alone. And the last point is to lean on God when in doubt, or when you feel intimidated about the journey. Really big one, like a really big one.
No way!
I've done this a lot. Usually before I travel, you know, I say my prayers, but aside from that, I kind of have a little conversation with God. I'm like, you know, I'm going here. I feel a little bit anxious that I'm traveling alone. And you know, I've googled some horror stories, and I'm kind of hoping that this trip will turn out really great. Yes, conversation along that lines I'll have. I was overwhelmed on my first time to Paris, just thinking like, will this trip be great? And then I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna leave it up to God. God, just guide me, go before me, just go before me, and let me just have a great time. Just take control of this trip. I spent 4 days there, and it was really good. Actually, it was good. So definitely lean on God when in doubt, or when you feel intimidated about anything before or during your trips.
I'm hungry! Go to the kitchen, damn it!
Just gonna go get that famous roll and eat it. I just want to pause by saying that this video is in no way sponsored by KFC. But KFC, if you want to hit your girl up, please let me know, because the girl got to eat. Okay, so I'm actually here. I've made it to the KFC. I really mostly have coins right now, so I'm basically going to count them out. But my sister usually doesn't like when I come to a store with coins, but I'm that person. I will come to a store with a lot of coins and spend my coins, or my silver as we like to call them in Jamaica. When most businesses usually to Jamaican dollar coin, the $1 coin, I usually walk with my $1, my bag of $1, and just count them out like when I'm shopping or anything, because I save up my $1. It's crazy how much this has affected one of my favorite beaches in Portmore. Crazy. As you can see, bottles on top of bottles. Is that like an old fridge or bathtub?
Look at this. Somebody come look at this.
There are bottles like, look, this literally was not here a few months ago. It's crazy. And the thing is, I've been here before a few months ago and it wasn't like this. So I'm actually quite surprised that I came here today and basically this is what I'm seeing. Yeah, because I also wanted to shoot something here because I had the clean beach in mind. No, I can't. Unless we change the concept, I guess. Yeah, this camera is so heavy.
Oh no, no joke.
Thanks again for watching this video, and I'm really hoping that you found something useful. If you want to, just go in the comments below and tell me what was your favorite tip, or definitely please add other tips down below so other Christian travelers can scroll and see other advice as well. I'm excited! Yeah! Bring the confetti now!